I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, I'm talking to my Pisces. Hello, Pisces. I took a poll, you guys voted, and it won by a mere 1 or 2%. We're going to be talking about career. We're going to be talking about both you and your personal energy and the story behind that. And then the second half of the video is going to be about the energy going on with your career. This can also involve school and the story behind that. I just want to take a moment to say thank you guys so much for voting in the poll for that. It's going to change up every week. And I could not be more excited and thrilled that it was a neck and neck tie almost between love, spirituality, and career. I mean, all three are so important. It's really cool to see the community feels the same way. I love that. Anyways, let's first get started into the energy going on here with you. Ooh, interesting. Let's see the story behind that. That's good. Tower in reverse is always fantastic. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, so this is a bit of an interesting thing to discuss. So it might be a little difficult to hear, but it's nothing major. I see some positivity over here in the Page of Pentacles. This is more of like an uncomfortable idea or feeling. It's nothing like bad. I just want to clarify that. So first off, let's start with the Six of Wands. So fantastic. Really good vibes and energy. This is the feeling of like, if you're not feeling this now, this is the hint. And well, I'll be honest with you, with the Page of Pentacles popping up, these are like a double confirmation for big things like promotion, getting an opportunity to have more fun, celebration. Overall, it's a feeling of popularity, likability. It's just overall a good time and feeling like the best version of yourself and truly enjoying that. But it seems like the energy goes, often when we experience this, it can feel like once in a blue moon, because a lot of our life is, it doesn't have to be that way, but it is very common that our day-to-day is just like accomplishing things, our, chores, whatever. And so when we experience this like flow, the energy that surges through us is almost overwhelming, and it could get kind of like chaotic. And this is where we've got the Five of Wands going on. Now, this does hint to the potential possibility of a disagreement with someone, but I'm getting more of like internal conflict. The reason why the Five of Wands can be a bit of a sticky situation, again, I want to talk about positivity, that this is not something that's going to lead anywhere bad. It's just something that's uncomfortable to experience. This is when two different concepts are going on inside you, and you're thinking about both of them, and you can't quite make a decision, and you can make an argument for both. And you're excited one moment, want to be pulled over here to do this thing, and then you want to go and prove yourself the next over, here. And as you're getting pulled back and forth, it starts to get kind of exhausting and overwhelming with all of this good potential, or a discussion, you're having within yourself trying to figure something out. And as you're experiencing this, the healthiest thing to do would be, pull away, walk away, think about it. Now's not the time to engage with that conversation with inside yourself or with this other person. But it's just too enticing, and you keep finding yourself coming back to it over and over and over again. And as you do, you keep talking about it too long, to the point that, have you ever discussed something for too long, a decision, and you just start to get kind of anxious because you've talked about it for too long? It's like that type of energy. But the reason why you have built up or could build up this type of energy is because of wanting to make the right decision, can't quite come up with the decision, and all of this got sparked from such great vibrant flow and surge of, again, energy. Don't mean to be redundant here, but that is the only word to explain it. So we can get more specific into how to deal with this in order to enjoy all the positivity going in the Six of Wands and where this is all kind of leading. So the King of Wands is, again, that confidence, that energy, that vibe. But when he's in reverse, he's not quite sure like how to express it. There's like a difficulty, there's a block. So this energy is just building and building and building, and it can get pretty overwhelming essentially, and starts to feel like you're kind of crawling out of your skin, so to speak. We can see the blockages are actually due to this Ace of Cups in reverse. Maybe you just don't feel like you might be excited and pumped, but not quite sure how to emotionally express this idea. Maybe you don't feel like it's a safe situation with the Five of Wands. Maybe you're in an environment where you don't feel like people are supportive of you in this way, so you don't want to show it to them, and there's a sort of blocking yourself off. Either way, the emotions and being unopen and untrusting is what's causing the blockage, which is allowing the energy to build and build and build, which causes you to contemplate the energy and the passions and the ideas, and then this is when it starts to build and build and build. But the good thing is we have the Tower in reverse. This talks about an issue, a long-standing issue, may I add, ending. That could be the Ace of Cups changing around and you suddenly starting to feel more open. That could be maybe you have a cycle of going around and feeling really good and then kind of imploding and self-sabotaging yourself. Either way, it seems like this flow is going to work itself out, which is really beautiful, and who doesn't love that sort of kind of big shift energy to change. Something I want to point out here is between the Two of Wands and the King of Wands going on here. See, the Two of Wands is someone who's afraid to dream. They see it, they're kind of interested in it, but they aren't quite taking the steps to make the plans to, draw out the journey and route of how they're going to actually get there. So it's the planner dreamer, if that makes sense. But the thing here that's so sad is he's admiring the Page of Pentacles. We're going to get into a lot more detail over here in one second, but think of the Page of Pentacles as the potential future, this possibility, the dream itself, this job placement, this occupation. This actually perfectly goes into the career thing we were talking about. And it's like he's admiring it, but he's just kind of afraid to fully dream it, fully take those steps in order to then make this concept a realistic reality. And then at the same time, the reason why he looks at the dream but can't quite, turn around and take the, work on the plan is because when he turns around, he has to deal with the Tower in reverse. Sometimes when we get rid of a long-standing issue inside of us, while this is a great thing and ultimately involves improvement and is often filled with relief, sometimes we don't even realize until the moment arises that it's also a comfort for us. And it can be overwhelming to let go of that comfort, because if the thing that's changing here, if all of this cycle and shift, the main culprit is the fear of opening up emotionally, the opening up can feel like it goes against your very muscle memory, if that makes sense. So it's like there's a feeling of wanting to avoid the muscle memory. You're dreaming, but you're causing more of a built-up sensation of energy, like we talked about in the King of Wands in reverse, because there's not actions being made. Now, this can all change. All of this can change. We already talked about a cycle kind of looping within itself. These are steps that need to be actively done. I do want to point this out. You have to be proactive in order to make this happen. But if you allow yourself to be emotionally more open to the right people, allow that energy to start to kind of feel like it can go somewhere. Keep in mind if you're wondering how to not build up the energy too much but funnel it out in the best way possible, the King of Wands has a tendency to love building an internal community within themselves. He does attract other cool people because they see how cool he is within himself, but he's not constantly going out like in the Six of Wands and celebrating with people all the time. He takes plenty of time inside to have fun and figure out what he wants, and then instead of just constantly burning through his energy or feeling like he needs to entertain everybody else, if that makes sense. He definitely has a nice balance between being with other people and being by himself, because that's how he got the other people to come to him. So it's not about completely being social or completely being isolated. So that's just something to keep in mind. But anyways, all of this then can shift and we can get to the Page of Pentacles. Now we are going to get to the career thing in one second. I'm going to pull some more cards, but the Page of Pentacles is awesome. This is the promise, and we talked about that with the Six of Wands, of this like promotion that's all leading it to like just an opportunity in general for like a better placement. This is often, I do want to point this out, can be, I know I mentioned big things like a promotion because of the Six of Wands, but in many cases the Page of Pentacles can be something small, but it is a long-term token for the future, which is great. Something to keep in note here that I think it's really interesting with the Page of Pentacles I've noticed lately is this will be something like a clue given to you from the universe. And this is the type of attitude of somebody who experiences little synchronicities or notices little moments where they should take advantage of something. And they take advantage of it, they notice the sign, they use it to their advantage, and they don't worry so much about every second of the long-term future. Instead, they wait for these opportunities to present themselves, they do something with it, and they just kind of don't think about it, and then the next opportunity presents itself. And then they use that, they integrate that energy to come into their life. These are like messages from the universe, but you essentially need to realize that the messages are waiting for you to kind of take action, work with what they give you, and then they give the next message or clue or helpful thing to help you get ahead by seeing you interact with whatever they gave you. So this is like kind of going into the unknown, just taking your time, very free spirit in that kind of way. So just some things to keep in note if you're like looking for, a better occupation, or you're figuring out, well, how will I know this better opportunity as it comes? If these are small little clues or hints, or like, working an extra couple hours, you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's just see what's going on energy-wise at work. Oh, that celebration idea got repeated again, which is really fun. Let's see what's going on story-wise, though. That's so interesting. Wow, this is really fixated around the concept of socialness, which I think is really fascinating, both being social and avoiding socialness. It's kind of, I can't quite tell timing-wise what's happening first. It's almost like they're affecting one another. But you're given a bit of a warning, if you will. We're kind of looking a little bit into, if this makes sense, like we're saying, like, here's how you open up. This is how you process the energy. It's basically like the confirmation of like good stuff's coming your way and it's going to cause this energy flow, and we're going to work on that so it doesn't implode and like lead to something else, because you're meant to dream and keep growing and so on and so forth. And then it's kind of like a beautiful cycle going on right now. But we want to talk about, from feeling this sort of energy and vibe and celebration, excitement, you're going to want to naturally kind of pull back a little bit via the work itself. It's like the opportunities are going to present themselves, you're going to receive them, you're going to benefit from them. But once you get to that place where you're like, okay, I'm here, I want to take a second to appreciate it, which is great. Over here we have the Four of Wands, referring to you having just like a great time socially with your coworkers. I do want to point out, when we have the Hermit in reverse, this is the universe basically saying you're going to need to be the one that reaches out to them first. Do not wait for them to come to you, because that's just not going to be the case in this situation, and you should go out of your way to be close with them. Often when this pops up, the closer we feel with people, these are like unintentional opportunities we're creating for ourselves, so that as the future unfolds, these people might be the very people you can depend on in order to execute ideas, or give you the know ahead of if something went wrong, or you need to avoid something, or here's another opportunity to get more money, and so on and so forth. So you want to build this sort of happy environment and hang out with your coworkers in this kind of way. And over here in the Ten of Wands, this is showing, this is really beautiful. This is like you saying, you know what, I'm going to just take a little bit of break as I hang out with my friends, have fun, enjoy this good environment. At this point that I receive all this good stuff, I'm just going to vibe and enjoy all of this and take a second. But that does come, all of this fun, even though it should happen and fostered for the variety of reasons we expressed, there's a bit of a warning, if you will, so to speak. So it's almost like you're aware at a certain point, from the tone I've seen from the cards, that, and this is what I'm saying, I can't quite tell it. It feels like this chicken and the egg thing, where one thing is influencing the other. So while I mentioned the Page of Pentacles kind of being the thing that sparks the Six of Wands, it also feels like the Six of Wands causes the Page of Pentacles, which also causes the Six of Wands. It's like a back and forth sort of cycle vibe I'm seeing going on here. Because this energy is somebody who's aware that all their socializing and fun has led to the opportunities. Because the Six of Wands that we see over here is somebody who has a strong likability factor. So they get opportunities because everyone just likes them so much. We have a bit of that answer there of the socialization of why you should do it. But there starts to become a dependence on that socialization. And so when you feel off and feel like something's not quite at work, or maybe the socialization's off, there's this internal fear that gets built of saying, like, if I don't, if everyone doesn't like me, am I going to lose the better positions I have at work, the better opportunities or whatever? And there starts to be a little bit of potential risk popping up. You can stop it. It doesn't have to happen, but we can talk about it here. This is the King of Swords, who is a bit controlling and mood swingy. And it's a card that often pops up when it's a warning to say, slow down. You're making big decisions and you're not in the right place due to your outlook and defeatist outlook on life. And this is somebody who can sometimes take the scapegoat kind of personality and feel like, oh, I didn't do it, that's their fault, and getting kind of too caught up in everything and needs to pull back and get, recentered and grounded and all that jazz. But that can unfortunately lead to the Fool card in reverse. This is somebody who takes gambles and risks at work. And I'm mostly being shown by Spirit that this would be like being a little too silly at work, that people start to get frustrated or work doesn't get done or whatever. But this gamble, so to speak, that you can take potentially is something that will then later hurt you in the long run. And the thing with the Fool card in reverse is this is when you can see and know that it's not maybe the best time to make this particular choice. You're going to see it a mile away. It's not going to be like a mystery of like, oh, how did it possibly happen? You're going to know. You're going to start to notice your behavior and notice it shifting and changing. So again, all of these decisions are coming from the first spread when we were talking about all that like built up kind of energy popping up. And sometimes when we get built up energy, we get like, it's just too much, and we start to kind of spiral and take on vibes and choices we normally wouldn't make. And then this, unfortunately, is the confirmation in the Two of Pentacles. Again, warning, things can change. You don't have to take on this personality or handle things in this kind of way. But when the Two of Pentacles in reverse this is when mistakes start to be made. Now, the nice thing is, it is the Two of Pentacles in reverse, so these are not big mistakes, but they are small enough mistakes that if you have enough of them over time, the person juggling all the pentacles can drop all of these coins essentially, and it can, then his, so to speak, his act is over. But this can all be changed. We already talked about how you can manage your energy. You can being social is a positive thing, but it's about a balance between social work and maybe you take a little bit of a break, but not too much of a break, because then that lets your mind wander. It's like one affecting the other. But we have the King of Cups. This is your mentor. This is like a friend reaching out to you. They're going to be most interested in you being social with them and interacting. They are really cool, calm, and collected. They are able to handle intricate emotional situations and are just a great listener. This is someone that's most likely older, but when I say older, I mean this could be someone a year older. Do you know what I mean? Or they could just come across as very wise, but the energy I'm picking up is a wiser soul, so to speak. Either way, this is the person you're going to turn to and say, hey, keep me in check. Am I starting to be too social? Am I starting to let things slip? I'm starting to feel like this. And they're going to help you see the situation, prevent the mood swings, help you figure out the energy, so that as you continue to receive all this good stuff, it continues to flow. You know how to flow with it instead of feeling like you're taken by the river, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? The river is very intense. The river of success, we'll just call it. And it can feel like as you're doing really well, maybe you're in like a river raft kind of vibe, you start to feel, when you're having like a lot of success kind of in a video game, and then over time you're like, what if I trip on one button, and you start to kind of get in your head? It's like that vibe. They're going to help prevent that. They're going to be very helpful. They're going to be very calming, but we already talked about the details in between of how this can all work out that's the key word, continue to work out in your favor. Anyways, If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And yeah, bye!